All right, we're recording. All this can be edited. So it looks kind of like rather studio-esque, right? So,
Hey, it looks good. Hey, everybody, we're here on the KVON radio network. It's good to see you all here in the podcast, and thanks, Brian, for having me and asking these good questions that you're asking. It's fabulous.
you know what? I think Forrest thinks he's the host because I'm the host. So he's done this, but I have Forrest here because he's polished at this and has done a great job and brings things out in people that I don't think they expect. And he did the same with me. So Forrest, what I want to do today is just kind of talk about some of what, not just what we do, but
Right.
who we are and why, what kind of people we'd like to attract into our lives professionally and personally. And
Nice.
because we'll let people know that Forrest and I have a Hawaii connection, and kind of made this right away. I had the eye contact that, there's a guy I want to get to know. And I'd like for other people to feel that way about me sometimes. So tell me about, we have the Hawaii thing, we have the feel the ohana, but
Well, and I'll tell you one thing, that if I was to ever say what I'd like to aspire to more in my professional career is staying good friends with good people. Because we're in the middle of, say, a real estate deal as a realtor. We're talking, 2 or 3 times a day, 10 times a week. And then after the deal is over, do I just fade? Do I just back away? And one thing that you do, Brian, is have really good friendship skills. I've told you this several times. There is magic in that. There is huge support that's felt, and it calls it up in others. It brought it up in me. It brings it up in me. So today's talk is a nice piece of that. So.
Great way to start. Yeah, I'd hope that this is I want to, that kind of thing. I want to invite others to try stuff that's, I think it's uncomfortable for people, especially when they're going to be recorded, but because their imperfections might be revealed. But I also want people to realize, man, we're all flawed. We're going to screw shit up. We're going to, but if we care, right? And I want people to kind of be forgiving of me when I'm going to screw some stuff up. I'm going to forget, oh my gosh, I could have, would have, should have. Can always be better. But I want people to be a little less perfect and feel okay being imperfect and be inviting. So that's some of what I want to say and why I want to record stuff and share it so that people get a sense of that.
Well, it's a super important thing. And in a world where there's kind of meanness or a tough spirit, people thinking that that's a form of power, I think actual power and positive influence comes from a different place. It comes from kindness. It comes from professional competence, yes, but boy, oh boy, you want to have somebody who you can trust and feel real with, right? They do say, how's that expression, that people don't remember what you say, but they remember how you help them feel. They remember how you make them feel. And if I don't feel anything when I'm buying a house, say, or getting important insurance benefits or estate planning, if I'm not feeling my soul getting touched a bit, something's missing. And I think what we're helping people do is really navigate some of that internal world that often goes unexamined. And unexamined fears become hesitation, they become resistance, they become isolation, they become a way of not connecting. So I think what we're willing to do is talk real about real things. And in that way, it helps the monster be tamed.
Yeah. I want people to hear some of the things that you just said, for instance, in a way they go, wait, I kind of relate to what Forrest just said. And be less inhibited about asking for help or, hey, Forrest, this is, for instance, I would imagine in your profession, somebody say, hey, I'd like to buy a house, but I don't know much about mortgage. Can you help me figure that out? Oh yeah, I got experience. I know a bunch of mortgage people, and let's get a cup of coffee and figure stuff out. So
it's really a perfect example. We recently finished a deal with a young woman who's a firefighter, a paramedic. She said, Forrest, I know what it's like to be a paramedic, to be a firefighter, but to buy my first house, are you kidding? And she was looking down in Bremerton or in Manette and this and that. She said, thank you for being with me on the journey, because I couldn't have done it without you. And the way you stayed in touch and the way that we brought in Frank from Evergreen
Oh, yeah.
Mortgage. That was a perfect example of synergy with other competent people because the system felt really real and congruent for her. And how do you replace that? They are thrilled. I just was there the other day and handed them copies of a photograph I had taken of she and her mom and dad outside the new house and full of joy. And I'd like to always have real estate and business be as full of heart as that was.
How did she find you? How did she come to start working with you?
Well, the really far out thing is through Rotary. I met a woman named Jessica, who's a estate and real estate attorney. She is adorable. She actually had a friend who was looking to list a small house in Paulsbo, which we helped her, listed it, sold it right away, over asking price. And we drove by there earlier today, as a matter of fact. I call it the Robin's Nest. And because of that positive experience, Jessica said, you got to meet my daughter, my sister Megan, who, again, absolutely delightful young woman. And real estate's a complicated trade because of all these moving parts. It might seem comfortable to you and I to have a mortgage on our house, but for someone who's just starting out, if I make a mistake, do I lose my house? Well, it can happen. There's risk. So how to help people understand what the mountain that they're climbing.
If I meet somebody in the world and I want to introduce them to you, what do you want me to say?
Good. I've got a friend, Forrest, who really helps people look at what the path is ahead, to love where they live, make sure that where they choose, the neighborhood, the place itself makes financial sense, but also supports them in feeling alive and excited. I think that idea of just looking for a home, you can choose 100 typical realtors. And the truth is, everybody knows a dozen realtors. If they work with me, they're going to hear a commitment to kindness, fair play, fairness, absolutely. And I'm also a very skillful negotiator and mediator. So I think those are the things that when someone's thinking about a place to live, I laugh when I say, I realize who would be a good referral to me? Anybody who needs a place to live, because we help negotiate simple things and complicated big things too.
Something that may not be intuitive. I don't know if realtors are in this space, but somebody who's a renter and they're thinking about moving to another place. And, especially here in Seattle, rents are kind of steep.
Oh, yeah.
Is there a reason for people who are renting and they're not interested in a house, or they don't think they are? Might it be worth knowing you and putting some perspective on how is renting versus buying and whether or not that's appropriate?
It's such a good question, because across the country, they even actually have a way of analyzing the affordability index. And what that means is, if I'm over in this community and my rent is $1,800, or I'm over in this one and my, I can get a house payment that's $1,800, which is a better choice? Well, I'm over here deducting that personal mortgage expense from my taxes. All of a sudden, I've got a 25 or 30% discount, so to speak. So that analysis and considering, we'd love to talk with people about that, because affordability has a lot of different dimensions to it. Some people with seniors, they'll say, you know what, go ahead and sell your house, hold onto that cash as a rainy day fund, and just rent. I guess that can be a good idea up to a point. But there are questions about whether that's a sensible move or not. So these are good conversations for people at any age or income level.
So this layering of topics here is among the reasons that I'm very proud of NLWBC, because we've got, in addition to Forrest and his expertise with real estate, we've got tax specialists through Simone Bachot and her firm, and others who, the aforementioned Jessica Jetter and her firm as estate planners. We have a mix of professions that we can come together, and we've been cultivating people who have that sense, like Forrest described, having a sense of kindness and curiosity about the people they're taking care of, and have some thought of longevity, some relationships that can go someplace and maybe even past 50, because some of us live past 50 and life is good. So This is the first of what we hope to be many episodes of, whether it's Crow Tribe Radio or Coffee Talk with a Crow or something. So
good.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers to
Mahalo,
you
as we
too.
say in Hawaii. And
That's right.
to be continued. Cheers.
That's great. Well, yeah, and I would just add to that, Brian, that what you're cultivating in North Lake Washington Business Connection is a collection of people who do bring heart to what they do. They're professional at what they're good at, but add that to a community of people that are cultivating kindness and balance and fair play. That's fantastic. You and I might sort of take for granted what we do professionally.
Mm-hmm.
For someone who we're helping, it's brand new.
Yeah.
That's dangerous territory. We're helping them get across without getting swallowed. And I think networking groups like North Lake Washington absolutely cultivate a civilized outcome. So,
some of the things you start to hear what other people say, but when professionals reveal some vulnerability, some imperfection, but
Sure.
we have some passion about it, and bring some of the other topics that others have introduced about helping people exhale and feel better.
Nice.
and be honest about whatever their discomfort is in the world professionally, whatever they're facing, but ask for help.
Yeah.
And I'm a former hypocrite. I hated to ask for help because I thought it was unmanly
That's
as
right.
a kid.
Sure.
And I wish I could call out my old man, but it's too late for that. But
Yeah.
thanks for tuning in. See you next time.